Thank you very much, Farhan. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can you answer my salam? Okay, this is in Indonesian. Good afternoon. My name is Zulfa, and if you read my CV, there is no disaster management. There is an obstetric gynecology, reproduction, molecular biology, and so on. But I am standing here because of now. It was not now because at 1 o'clock it will change. I was a leader of DDART. DDART. DDART is a Diponegoro Disaster Response Teams. Was a couple hours ago, but now it's become her. It's become her because the letter already been signed at 1 o'clock, I think. So it was, yes. And we will talk about disaster and its health risks. I'm just curious, are you from health services or something or medical faculty? No? Some, yeah, but it's everybody from the health field? Okay. Okay, then we can. Where are you from? Belanda. Which part of Belanda? Radboud University. Radboud. I've been there a couple of times because I took my PhD in Rotterdam, Erasmus MC, hey, a couple of years ago. And we will talk about disaster. We know maybe this presentation you will already be know about Indonesia. Yeah, have you been in Indonesia before? Who is Indonesian? You, yeah, maybe 80%. Who is not Indonesian? Okay, where are you from? Philippines. Okay, that is almost the same with Indonesia. Yeah. And where are you from? Japan. Oh, yeah. Japan. Yeah. This is also in Ring of Fire. Yeah. Maybe fewer than Indonesia. Yeah. I've been in Japan many 3 or 4 times. Okay, slide. Click. Yeah. Before we start, what kind of disaster, we just want to discuss about natural disaster, not man-made, yeah? Not man-made. We will discuss about natural disaster because it will impact on economically, environmentally, yeah, women, vulnerable population, and also a political. A couple, maybe 2 years ago, we postponed our election because of uh, pandemic, yeah. We postponed 1.5 years, I think, and it will many things. And it can cause loss of life or damage of property. Not like in Japan. In Indonesia, house is not made, it's designed to, yeah, to face the disaster because of, not just because of, yeah, mostly it's because of economical things. We can afford to build the building like in Japan. So if the earthquake happen, maybe just 6 or 5.6, it will impact severe, like happening in Cianjur, yeah, a couple years, 2 years ago. Not more than 6 Richter, but the damage is very, very severe. And we send the team there in the day 2 of disaster, and wow, everything is collapsed. Yeah, but if it happened in Japan, maybe it's just rocking the building and nothing happened after that. Yeah, it's also one of the challenge disaster in Indonesia. Yeah, I don't know this building. Maybe it's, yeah, like Mbak Za said that couple months ago, or maybe 2 months ago, we can feel shaking while I gave the lecture. But maybe just one or two students feel it, and the other is not aware about it, maybe because they are sleepy. Yeah, and it is 4.5 Richter scale. Slide. I have 100 slides. No, just 10. We will discuss about this. Indonesia. Do you know how many islands Indonesia is? Yeah, you're my neighbor. 1,000? More than 17,000 islands. 17,000 islands. We can imagine it spread out from west to east. It's like we are as wide as Europe. Yeah, we are as wide as world with this structure of archipelago, 17,000 of island, and not all of the island were occupied. It's just 40%. Yeah, and if you check in the website from the Indonesia Disaster Management National Agency, there are 318 deaths, 46 lost, refugee or suffering people, more than 4 million. So Indonesia is in, so we have to be aware. Maybe next week we will take you to the Merapi. Merapi is the most, yeah, I think it's the most frequent volcano in the world, because almost every year, at least one, maybe 3 or 5 times its eruption. So we have a camp there. Maybe you can live there for 1 day or 2 days to feel the atmosphere. And we built it in 2015, I think. 2015, when the eruption of Merapi happened, and it's very a big and nginep sana enggak ya? Enggak ya? No, no. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Committed that will you be there overnight or not? But it just, yeah, it there. Slide. Yeah. This is an Indonesia disaster agency from January of 2000. Oh yeah, this is last year, yeah. Maybe more than 5 million disaster happened, and mostly it's an earthquake. Gempa bumi is an earthquake 31 times. Yeah. This is Gempa bumi, is an earthquake, and eruption of the mountain is 4. Karhutla is a wildfire, more than 2,000. Yeah. That's very mostly in Sumatra and Borneo or Kalimantan. And flood is also this number, landsliding, dryness, and abrasion. Semarang also has a severe abrasion. If you go, maybe just take 40 minutes from here, you will find in the north area about abrasion. Yesterday, our rector went there, and he looked. The area is very severe because of abrasion. Lost 33, 2,275 deaths, and more than 8 million suffer and injured more than 5,000. Okay, slide. It's already been explained by Mbak Aza, so I can skip this. Because we use this for risk assessment metric. You can use this, and then maybe we can make a simulation. Yeah? Okay, slide. Yeah, health emergency and disaster risk management framework, we have to do a comprehensive, because health is not solely problem, it's also properties, physical or non-physical things, and we approach risk-based approach, and we have to inclusive people and community-centered approach inclusively. And all hazard approach we have to do and multi-sectoral. If we send the team, we not just send the health professional, but also engineer and masyarakat community health service and many things. We have a team and it's consists of all in Undip. So be at least 10% we send it. And we send as soon as possible, like what happened in 2018. Maybe you heard about the eruption in Nusa Tenggara, West Nusa Tenggara. Every day, more than 100 earthquakes happen there. We came to the Mataram a day after it happened for the first time. And we gave the service during the earthquake. We check the health status of the patient while we are shaking also. And we don't live in, we stay not in the hotel or something, we stay in the tent. So that's very challenging. And if you're part of that team, so maybe it will, your awareness about it will increase. Because if you involve, like what, siapa tadi bilang? The Chinese philosopher?
The end quote?
The quote, Stephen Hawking. If we involve in that disaster, then we will understand. Because the problem is not just health, but also impact long term, include the mental or ethical consideration also. Universal health coverage and health security are two sides of the same coin. Slide. Yeah. And now we talk about the health impact of natural disaster, injuries and chronic disease emergency. Do you think if this earthquake or flood happen, it's not just injuries happen, it's also cardiovascular disease, metabolic disease also come up. Yeah. Then we send also the pediatrician, not just professional in a disaster. Hygienic impact, yeah, yes, of course, and the spread of disease. This is also another challenging that we have to be prevented. Food shortage, yeah. Everybody send the food and drink. And everybody send by water, mineral water in the bottle, and without thinking that it will impact afterwards. What is the impact? The garbage, plastic garbage. we have to deal with that for a year in Nusa Tenggara because of that garbage. Everybody sent the water in a plastic bottle, and after the disaster finished, wow, there's such a huge amount of garbage there and plastic garbage. So needs more than a year to solve it. And mental health problem, because yes, of course, if someone by disaster and it's happened mendadak, suddenly they're not prepared. That's why we propose to do a mitigation, especially in the area of frequent disaster happen, like in Magelang, Semarang, north of Semarang, it's flood almost every day. Flood is almost every day. So their friend is a water from the sea come to the island, and it will impact every night. Maybe you can go there to see the impact of flood. And slide. And this is the basic step leading to the risk characterization, identifying the characteristic of hazard and associated health consequence. We have the team specialized in this, so they are not working on health management clinically, but they're just assessing, identifying, and evaluating the exposure of individual and population to likely hazard and analyzing the context, vulnerabilities and capacities associated with the hazard, and then the characterizing the public health impact. This is what we do also, and then we make a statistic and report it to the government, and then the government make policy to do to solve the problem. Saya? Yeah. Yeah, as I said before that we need a comprehensive support. A whole of the government aspect have to be supported, communities and communities-based organization, LSM, National Disaster Management Agency, national and local disaster management agency, and related organizations such as university. Yeah, every university in Indonesia have a disaster team. Slide. Yeah, maybe this is a slide that we can give to you, and we can discuss later in the panel session. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Before that, everyone, feeling sleepy already? Not? Okay. I hope you are not feeling sleepy. But I want to recap first before we come to the discussion. From Ms. Jah, we discussed about the disaster management, about the pre-disaster, disaster and post-disaster activities, and also what to do, and also the cluster we can have to take a part into, including SAR, health, logistics, shelter, and also education, economical facilities, and early recovery cluster. And also, to supplement that, Dr. Zulfa is also giving us the insight about the disaster, natural disaster, and its health risk, about the health impact, about the injury and chronic disease, the hygienic impact, also mental health problems. And also how we can give you our support by joining the team, the support provided by the whole of government, communities, national disaster, and etc. Okay, so we still have a few minutes, 15 minutes here. So I know that maybe some of you have already having the question for Nurse Jah, or maybe you have question to Dr. Zulfa. As usual, as before the break, please If you want to ask question in here, please raise your hand, stand up, state your name, your institution, and also your question to whom. Because we have to actually instead of one before the break. So, is there any question maybe? Is there any question on the online Zoom maybe? Not yet? Okay. So maybe isn't any question? So I want to ask the question about for both of you. Okay, maybe I want to have a question for both of you because both of you are part of DIDA, Diponegoro Disaster. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I forget the abbreviation. The DIDA itself is already conducted the operation of the disaster cluster for the several of the disaster, right? Maybe for the earthquake, maybe flooding, etc. Could you please share with us maybe one of some example of what your work, maybe the one you have the insight to share to us. So maybe in the future, maybe we can join the other disaster team or maybe join the DITAT. So we have more insight aside from the example that especially Nurse Hafizah already tells to us. Could you please share any experience maybe to us about the one or maybe more of the disaster? Thank you. You may start with Dr. Sufa or maybe Nurse Hafizah. Is up to you.
Okay, thanks for the question, Mr. Farhan. So it was about our experience in handling a disaster, especially in Indonesia. Previously, we had involved in several disasters. First, it was on 2019. Of course, it was COVID pandemic. We had several services such as isolation shelter, and we also conducted telemedicine, telenursing. We were assisting not only the students of Universitas Diponegoro, but also the citizens nearby Universitas Diponegoro. At that time, we had online consultation, both with the doctor and also the nurses. And not only that, we also had online health counseling, yeah, by our professor from mental health nursing. So we assist the people impacted by the disaster, not only physically but also mentally. We also provide. Previously, we had a challenge, and it was about the oxygen. What is it? Oxygen tube. Yeah, in Semarang itself, there are several hospitals run out of oxygen gases. So at that time, we also provide oxygen gas, and we were joining with several companies. Yeah, so we can provide not only the individual but also the hospital. Besides, we also distribute special mask. It was nano mask. So because at that time, all of medical masks, not only the surgical mask, but also KN90 and something like that was so rare. So we developed new kind of mask, and it was a nano mask. We conduct a mini research about that, and we distribute this kind of masks to the citizens and also to the hospital. It was happening on 2019 until 2020. Yeah, so it was around 2 years. We provide assistance for COVID-19 victims. Then in 2022, right? We also involved in Cianjur earthquake. Yeah, so we sent our team to do rapid assessment, and after that we sent health professionals and also some logistics needed by the citizen of Cianjur. Yeah, we were sending around 2 or 3 teams, and it consisted of lecturers, health professionals from Diponegoro National Hospitals, students, yeah. So all of academic activities in Universitas Diponegoro. We were sent to Cianjur to do disaster response. Yeah, so right after the earthquake happened, we sent rapid assessment team there. Okay, so after Cianjur earthquake, we also involved in several floods around Semarang, not only on North Semarang, but also in our nearby regency. Yeah, it was a border between Semarang and Demak. It was located in Mateseh, Meranggen, and the surrounding. In this flood, we also sent several teams, and it was not only 1 or 2 days. We were assisting the victim for around approximately a month, if I'm not mistaken. So we provide medical assistance, we provide logistics such as clothes, blankets, foods, ready to eat foods, because they were so exhausted to cook themselves and so on. We provide foods and water, and also we provide several, in Indonesia we call it sembako, so it's a daily need, consists of like rice and cooking oil, ready to drink milk and so on. It was called family package. So we distribute one package for one family. Yeah, and it consists basic human need, especially food and water. So I guess this all our involvement in disaster within these 5 years. I guess that's all. Yeah, perhaps any other.
Yeah, we have a special characterization in disaster management. We have mobile clinic. It's quite common, and we also have a mobile water treatment. So that mobile water treatment, we spread out the water, not by sending them the mineral water in the bottle, plastic bottle. We just send the truck, and the truck with special apps, membrane, basically in membrane, and we can change the even the seawater to be a fresh water and can be directly drink it, and that's why we try to add some mobile water treatment, and maybe we will have 2 or 3 more in this year, because I'm now responsibility in that field, and that's what we did. Yeah, like I said, that if a disaster happen, everybody wants to give some food and water, but they didn't think about the impact of sending the water in plastic. Yeah, so that's what we want to do, and more specifically by providing a more number of mobile water treatment. Yeah, that's it. Maybe we have 2018 we built 8 membrane or water treatment in 8 locations in Nusa Tenggara. Nusa Tenggara when the earthquake happened, because water is the most important thing, and we built this in 8 points, so it's good for environment also. Maybe that's it.
Okay, thank you for the comprehensive answer. So that's very interesting to see how the DDAT actually having the contribution for both the local and the internet, local and national, especially for the two events, maybe from the COVID-19 and Cianjur earthquake, and also for the other related disaster. Okay, anyone? We still have maybe 5 more minutes. Any question maybe from the audience? You? Okay. Please stand up. Please state your name, your institution, and the question is for whom? Excuse me. I will.
Good afternoon. I'm Janelle from the Philippines, University of the Philippines, Los Baños. My question is for Nurse Sa. You mentioned a while ago that after disasters, one of the responses is to give a temporary um, house, the Hontara. May I please know, out of curiosity, I'm asking, may I please know what happens to these houses once they move out? Since in the Philippines, those types of houses that were portrayed in the screen are actually real houses. So I just want to know if they're reused for different disasters, or the materials are used for something else. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Miss, you can also proceed to the answer.
Okay, thank you. I'm a bit difficult to say your name, pardon me. Janelle. Okay, thank you, Janelle, for your question. So it's about Huntara, yeah, the temporary housing. So in Philippines, those are the real house. I mean, those made from wood and also bamboo for the real house. Okay. Previously, I put the picture of wooden and also bamboo house, and actually, we have other materials. So it's like what is it? Flat wood. So or sometimes it's collapsible material. So it's like puzzle. So you can what is it? Build it and collapse it anytime you like. But sometimes in some risky areas, for instance, in where is it? In the earthquakes itself, the wooden house is also being the real house. But the government, after giving the temporary one, they like make what is it? A makeover, for instance, for the foundation, and because in Huntara, all of those are built with bamboo and wooden, so it has no rock on the bottom to support the building. But later, when this temporary house is being, what is it, completed, yeah, be the real house, it will supported by the rock itself and something like that. And if you ask whether this huntara can be used again in other part of disaster, some of those, yes, can be used again. So that's why we call it huntara. Okay.
Do you want to add another question? Okay. Okay, thank you for the question and answer. Maybe last one, maybe last one. Any question maybe for this part of the class maybe? Or maybe from the online? Is there any, sir? Belum ada. Okay, from this part, is there any question? No? Is enough maybe? Okay, so it is enough. So what I can have to some conclusion here is disaster itself. We need to have some auto mitigation, especially for the pre-disaster, disaster and post-disaster, and also how to assess about the health impacts of natural disaster, and also how we can learn from the experience and maybe we can help to each other, and also what the strategy do we have to further prevent. Another what can I say? What can I understand is disaster because of disaster. For example, about the microplastic and maybe the maybe the maybe the plastic trash and etc. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so that concludes our second and third lectures for today, and also this is the last lectures for today. After this, we will advise you to excuse me, operator. Can you please show us again the teams maybe for after this? So after this, please pack your belongings, pack your bag, and etc. etc. Because after this, you will guided by what? Excuse me, excuse for a moment. Excuse me, maybe we can scroll again. Maybe 1, 2, scroll again. 3, 4, yes, scroll again. Oh, so it's only for group, right? This is only for group, okay? So, sorry, wait for a moment. Okay, so after this, every one of you, you have the BBDM room. So this space will be empty. So our facilitator in behind, you can prepare yourself for this what is agenda. Maybe the facilitator for group 1, maybe you can stand up and go here. Yes. Okay, thank you, Dr. Zulfa, and thank you, Nasya. If you want to go up. Okay, thank you. See you. Okay, the first facilitator. Please excuse me. Please pack your belonging where we discuss to the teams. Itu tim 1, 2, 3 tetap 1, 2, 3, 4 tetap aja, sisanya bantuin yang lainnya gitu aja. Jadi itu ada 2 fasil. Ono wae wis. Gitu aja. Yuk, fasil 1 maju sih. Tolong dong. Fasilnya siapa? 1, 2, 3, 4 maju 2 aja. Please. As stated before, you can look which part of your team is from here or maybe from the summercourse.fk.undip.ac.id. So, for the first group, can you raise your hand? Okay. So, who's the facilitator of the first group? Maybe you can stand here. So, I want to brief a moment because after this, your facilitator. Excuse me, could you please stand for a moment, please? So, your facilitator will guide you to your room, the BBDM, maybe the 9020 and etc. on the upper floor. And then you will have a case-based discussion that we are already prepared for you. And after that, the following session is closed after that with your facilitator. So after the discussion, you may go back to your place. Mr. Angga, is there any what you want to discuss? Iya, 4 kelompok aja. Gampang. Oke. Ya, yang baru. So, so do you understand what I said, or is there any question before that? Okay. For the question, you may ask your facilitator. So, facilitator one, raise your hand. Facilitator one. Okay, group one and facilitator one, you may go together to your room, and please pack your bag and your belongings. And because after that, you will not come to this class until tomorrow, maybe, right? Yes, until tomorrow. Okay, that's it. Yeah. Okay, group one, facilitator, you may please proceed. Okay, group two, facilitator, please come forward and follow your facilitator for the group two. Nomor dua ya. And group three, and the facilitator. Okay, please follow. The ladies and the boys right there is your facilitator. And also, the final facilitator, the group four, you may follow your facilitator. Laptopnya ke sana nanti ya. Okay, please. Excuse me. Okay, so for all of you in the Zoom, that concludes our session for today. You may join us again tomorrow, and I will say thank you for joining us. We will see you again tomorrow. Goodbye, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for all of you. Have a good day.